Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to continue with the same topic, Samson Agonistes by John Milton. In previous lecture I told you that Samson, after doing all the deeds and all the feats of strength, he decided to show one of his own, and for that first of all he prayed in his mind and heart by bowing his head down, and afterwards when he raised his head he addressed everyone who was sitting under the temple. He says, "Hitherto, lords, what your commands imposed, I have performed as reason was obeying. Not without wonder or delight beheld. Now of my own accord such other trial, I mean to show you of my strength, yet greater, as with amaze shall strike all who behold." The poet tells us in these lines how Samson addressed the people gathered there. He raised his head and in a loud voice he told them, and till now he had obeyed them most obediently, showed some feats of strength, and had never disobeyed their commands. Now he said he wanted to show them some feats of strength of his own accord, which would amaze everybody. Actually, Samson wanted to take them unawares. Therefore he told them in a friendly way that he was going to show them some more wonderful feats of strength. Over here, Samson decided something already in his mind, that he is going to perform one more act, and which will be according to his own strength, original strength. But he want to catch everyone unaware, as everyone was assuming that he is no threat anymore to them, since he was always obeying their commands. As he says in this part, he says that I have done whatever you have asked me, and with complete obedience, without keeping any delight. That means he was not so much happy what he's doing, but he still did it just because he was asked to. But later on he says that I want to perform one more feat of strength, and that will be totally amazing for everyone who is sitting there. यहाँ पे वो सैमसन अपना वो इरादा इज़हार करता है काफ़ी नरमी से, कि अब वो चाहता है कि वो अपना ख़ुद का एक मुजाहरा करे, क्योंकि इससे पहले जो उसको कहा गया था उसने सब किया, चाहे उसमें उसका दिल हो या ना हो, लेकिन क्योंकि उसने ओबे करना था सारी कमांड्स को, तो उसने बग़ैर किसी तरद्दुद के सारे काम किए. लेकिन अब वो चाहता है कि वो सबको वो एक स्ट्रेंथ का मुजाहरा करके दिखाए जो सबको हैरान और परेशान कर देगा. This uttered, straining all his nerves he bowed, as with the force of winds and waters spent, when mountains tremble those two massy pillars with horrible convulsion to and fro. He tugged, he shook, till down they came and drew the whole roof after them, with burst of thunder upon the heads of all who sat beneath. In these lines we are told how Samson pulled down the pillars upon the heads of his enemies. Samson applied his force to the pillars, which trembled just as mountains do against the fury of winds and water. He shook them in opposite direction till the roof came down with a thundering noise. Thus all those lords and captains who sat under the roof were crushed to death. Of course Samson too died, but in this way he took a revenge on his enemies. Samson succeeded in achieving his goal, that is to crush his enemies. For it he used his full strength to pull the pillars down on the heads of his enemies. Over here what happened, that Samson, after announcing and not giving anyone a second thought that what he possibly could be doing, he did his act. He, with all his might and all his nerves and power, as the winds could shake, or the turbulent water could make it happen, he shook the two pillars, and the pillars shook just like mountains trembling because of the earth tremors. With this horrible conversion of to and fro, conversion means that he was pushing and pulling with all his might the two pillars, and he tugged, and what happened next is that he was successful in tearing the two pillars apart, and with that the ceiling which was on top of those two pillars came down like a thunder and killed everyone who was sitting beneath it. And of course, Samson also died with his enemies. यहाँ पे ये होता है कि सैमसन अपनी पूरी जान लगा के जितनी इसके अंदर बाकी थी और जो उसकी स्पेशल स्ट्रेंथ थी जिसका उसने कहा था कि मुझको एक दफ़ा वापस वो मिल जाए, तो वो उसके पास तो वैसे आ चुकी थी, तो उसका वो इस्तेमाल करता है और वो किसी को भी दूसरी तरफा समझने का या इस पे ख्याल करने का मौका नहीं देता कि वो क्या करने जा रहा है, और अपनी पूरी पावर इस्तेमाल करके वो पिलर्स को हिला देता है। उसको ऐसा वो हिलाता है कि जैसे कि एक तूफ़ानी हवा माउंटेन्स को हिला दे, या तूफ़ानी पानी, बारिश का पानी या समंदर का पानी माउंटेन्स को हिला दे। इस तरह से वो पिलर्स को इतनी गरज के साथ हिलाता है कि लोगों को तो शायद सोचने का भी मौका नहीं मिला होगा, और इस बुरी तरीके से आगे पीछे करने की वजह से वो पिलर्स टूट जाते हैं, और उसके साथ उसके ऊपर जो सीलिंग होती है, जो छत टिकी हुई होती है, वो भी एक थंडर की तरह यानी एक खौफनाक आवाज़ के साथ सबके ऊपर आके गिर जाती है, और वहाँ पे जितने भी लोग बैठे हुए होते हैं सब मर जाते हैं, जिसमें सैमसन खुद भी शामिल होता है क्योंकि वो भी उसके नीचे ही खड़ा होता है। Lords, ladies, captains, counselors or priests, their choice, nobility and flower, not only of this but each Philistine city round, met from all parts to solemnize this feast. Samson's, with this immixed inevitably, pulled down the same destruction on himself. The poet tells us in these lines that among the people who were crushed to death under the roof were lords, ladies, counselors, and priests of the country. The people had assembled there from far and near to celebrate the feast. As Samson too was among them, he also met the same fate and was crushed to death. But by sacrificing his own life, he killed the best people of the enemy nation. The people who killed were important in nobility, not only of this one city, but also of all the Philistine cities. So, what happened on that time or day that Samson decided to kill his enemies, but in killing the enemies, he actually killed the top nobility of the Philistine country, not only of that city. So it was noted that from far off places the counselors, ladies and lords and priests have joined to solemnize the feast of the god named Dagon. So over there everyone was present who was supposed to be important for Philistine cities and country. So Samson brought the destruction to all the nobility of this city, and with that he also killed himself. तो यहाँ पे ये बताते हैं कि सैमसन ने जो काम किया कि अपने ऊपर और सबके ऊपर छत गिराई उस पिलर को हिला के, तो उसके नीचे बैठने वाले उस फ़िलिस्तीन कौम के सबसे प्रोमिनेंट कैप्टन्स, काउंसलर, आर्मी के, गवर्नमेंट के, मिलिट्री के, प्रीस्ट और रिलीजियस पार्टीज़ के सारे जितने भी इम्पोर्टेंट लोग थे वहाँ पे उस फीस्ट में मौजूद थे। और उस वक्त सैमसन ने जो ये काम किया उससे सारे के सारे फ़िलिस्तीन के अहम लोग मर गए, और उनके साथ सैमसन ने भी अपनी जान दे दी, क्योंकि उसका वही इरादा था कि वो अपने दुश्मनों को क्रश कर देना चाहता था कि जिसने उसकी बिनाई ले ली थी और उसकी ज़िंदगी उससे ले ली थी, तो इसलिए उसके बदले में और उसके रिवेंज के तौर पे उसने ये काम किया और सबको ख़त्म कर दिया। और क्योंकि उसको अपनी ज़िंदगी में भी अब कुछ बाकी नज़र नहीं आ रहा था, तो एक तरह से उसका ये फ़ैसला था कि उसने तो कुछ ज़्यादा मज़ीद खोना नहीं है, तो लेकिन उसने ये एक उसका काम था या उसका एक इरादा था वो उसने अपने आखिरी लम्हे में भी पूरा कर दिया। वो अपने जान से तो गया और अपने साथ अपने दुश्मनों की भी जान को साथ में ले गया। So this is for today, and this was the end of the poem. We will be doing the critical appreciation, that how the poem is written and what are the critical and points in the poem. We will discuss it in the next lecture. Thank you.